Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As I'm sure you're all very well aware now, I am a staff nurse and I have put on my Instagram recently a picture of myself in my uniform about questions I would like you to ask me about my nursing job. And basically I've done this because I feel like this would have helped me a lot through my training if someone had been able to give me advice about things that I would expect or things that I would need to start the course or things I would need for placement or even preparation I should have done for my interviews. So that's why I thought I would do this and just ask you all to ask me some questions about what you'd like to know about doing nursing. So yeah, I'm going to just read through the ones I got on Instagram and answer them. Okay then, so the first question I got was from a girl called rejectalice_, and she said to me that she was about to start her first interview for uni and she's really nervous basically. Do I have any tips on things that she should know, ask, or things that would make her stand out in particular? So for this, I think that the things that would make you stand out in particular is to make sure that you're not the person who speaks the most, but also to make sure you're not the person that speaks the least. Because you don't want to sound like you're too full of yourself, but you also don't want to sound like you don't really want to be there and you're not very interested. So I found that being sort of the middleman was normally the better way to go. Anything else that make me stand out? I would say just to read around an awful lot before you do your interviews, like read up on certain things that have been really popular with the press and in the news lately and things, and any kind of like reports that have come up about various different things like the mid-staffs thing and stuff. That's quite a good one to talk about, and state that you're aware of it and state why it's important that we know about it and things like that. Also, another question from the same girl, rejectalice_, is that she would also like to know what it's good to wear to your interviews for nursing. I would say personally I'm exactly the same as you in that I would like to look quite professional and things at interviews, and I do think it is important, and I do think that they take that into consideration when they're choosing who they decide to pick. So I'd say make yourself look professional, make yourself look smart. For my actual job interviews I wore like a midi skirt from River Island and like a nice blouse to go with it, and then just like a nice smart jacket and tights. I think something like that, something professional and black or white I'd say, is normally your best bet. I'd say something like that would probably be the best thing to wear. I did see people that turned up to interviews in jeans and tops, which to be honest, yeah, it's their personal preference and things, but I just personally think that if I was interviewing somebody, I would like to know that they've made as much effort as possible and they want to look as professional as they can. So I would say something like that. And also, I know that you've written that you're not shallow, but honestly I do think that outfits for interviews are super important, so you don't need to worry about feeling like that, honestly. Okay, so the next set of questions I got are from a girl on Instagram called Molly Isabella Kiss. Her first question was saying that she's 17 and she was just wondering what the next step is to being a nurse. Well, I'd say at 7, I'm guessing here, but at 17 I'm guessing that you're either doing your A-levels or have already applied to uni, but obviously still doing your A-levels, so you've made that choice. My first choice would be to make sure, if it's something that you know you want to do and something that you intend to stick to, make sure that you choose the right A-levels, because it is really important at the time to be able to apply to uni with the correct A-levels. So make sure that you choose the right ones, and your particular uni, make sure you look into what they want grades wise and points wise and things, because that is super important to know. So yeah, I'd say make sure you do that before you apply. Also, I didn't do this, but I do know people who did, and they seem to get into like every uni they chose on their options. I'd say try and get some work experience if you can in like a care home or I don't know, like your local hospital. It depends sometimes if you've got like connections, like family members that work in places, because that makes it a little bit easier. But if you didn't, which I didn't have at the time, I would say just try your hardest to get yourself a little placement, just something that looks good. Also, what I did through my A-levels and things was just try to get involved with as many charity things as possible, because that is something which they like to know that you're interested in and keen to help other people. And obviously with nursing being quite a caring profession, it is a caring profession, they like to see that you are capable of going out into your spare time and doing things to help others, so I think that they would like that. So yeah, I think that's a really good a really good thing to be able to do. Alright then, so another question from Molly Isabella is that she wants to know if your maths skills have to be really good, as she feels like she struggles with maths, and she was just wondering if this is something that she needs to like read up on. Personally, I agree that maths wasn't really my strong point going through school. I'd say you need to know the basics, and if you feel like you would be more confident if you practiced, I would say definitely do that. The good thing about going through uni is that, and doing this course, is that they do support you in all of these kind of areas, like your documentation, writing, and your math skills and all these kinds of things, because they are really important and they are things that you will need. I wouldn't say that maths is like the most crucial thing for doing nursing. I mean, it is really important for like your drug calculations and things, which you will need to do eventually. But to be honest, I don't feel like that you need to be some sort of amazing mathematician to do this degree, because you really don't. You just need to know all the things to do with drug calculations and then how you calculate that. So I would say don't go stressing about it. Don't go like reading into like your algebra and all these kind of things, because you really don't need anything like that. You need like your basic multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, all that kind of things, and you will be supported through that at university. So I wouldn't worry about anything like that. Also, another question from Molly is she's bought a ton of books online from anatomy to record keeping and medications. Do you think it's worth self-teaching myself just to get the basics in? And I hope that this makes sense. Yes, it does make sense. I would say it's good to get the odd couple of books, but honestly, if you go to a good uni, they will supply a massive library full of really good books that you will just be able to take out as and when you please, and that would be really, really helpful. I would say that there was a couple of books that I got while I was at uni. I didn't get any before, but while I was at uni I got a couple, which did help. I would say if you can, get your hands on a BNF. It doesn't matter if it's like a couple of years old or if it's the most recent one, because there will only be like minor little changes, I'd say. But basically the BNF is the Bible of medications, if you like, and I think that if you were wanting to read up on them, that would probably be the best one to get at the moment. But obviously not until you've got onto the course and at uni. I wouldn't say you need to worry about certain things like that, because it's not really, unless it's like a scenario question at interview, I wouldn't say they're really going to ask you anything about that in your interview. Record keeping and things like that, they'll teach you all in your lectures at uni, and it's the same with anatomy. But obviously it doesn't hurt to like read up and do these things before, because I think it would help with like essays and any kind of practicals and things that you have if you know these things already. So I would definitely say, just if you're the kind of person who likes reading into things, I would say yeah, why not get your hands on a couple of books and do a bit of reading in your spare time. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so next question is from Rebecca Ham 15, and this one was on Instagram as well. She's just asked me, where did I train as a nurse at? I trained in Newcastle upon Tyne, and I trained at Northumbria University, and I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to have placements in the amazing hospitals that are the RVI and the Freeman, which were absolutely amazing. I loved every placement I had, and I was just super lucky because I got lovely mentors and things as well. But yeah, if I could go back, I would probably still have gone to Northumbria, because it was amazing for my course, and I'm really, really pleased that I went. Okay, so the next question is from Amritakela. Sorry if I've said that wrong. And this one was on Instagram too. She's just asked, hi, what is the best way to prepare for your first placement, and what tasks should you be expected to be given? Okay, so for this one, I think prepare, just listen in your lectures and things, know what's going to be expected of you in your first placement. I think you'll be shocked by the end of your first placement about how much you learned throughout, because I think you'll go into it just being completely blind, which was what I was like, and I can't believe now when I look back what I didn't know at the start. But I just think just be like willing to do any little jobs that they offer you. Watch as much stuff as you possibly can, because I think that's what you need to do when you're doing your training. You just need to witness everything you possibly can and offer to like help out and like go and see as many things as you possibly can and be involved with loads, because I think when you get qualified you just get chucked at the deep end and you're expected to do these things, and if you've not done them through your training, then it's not really going to be very helpful. So I would say just chuck yourself in at the deep end a little bit and help out with as much as you can. Ask as many questions as you can. No question is stupid. Yeah, so just them really, and just try not to be nervous. I know that it is the most nerve-wracking thing ever, but I promise it does get a lot easier. the first day of your first placement is quite a terrifying day, but honestly, once you're there and everyone will be lovely and you'll settle in just fine, everyone's been there at the end of the day, so just try to relax and it'll be fine, it'll be over before you know it. So, my first placement, this is from the same girl, Amrit Keller, sorry I've said it wrong again. She asked what was my own personal experience at first placement, and she said this would be great help as she's starting nursing soon, so thank you. So I think my own personal experience was like I just said really. I was absolutely terrified when I got the bus to the hospital and had to go and find my ward and everything, and I was really early because I was just so nervous about being late and things. So that's another thing as well, don't be late, because that's not really good and they wouldn't like that on your first day. My own first personal experience was that I can't believe that I didn't know the basic things at the time, which now when I look back, yeah, obviously I wouldn't have known how to do this. Like, they asked me to do observations on a patient and I was just so panicked. I was like, oh my god, I don't know how to do that. So when they ask you to do something, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, just turn around and say, can you show me how to do it, and then I'll do it the next time. Don't just point blank say no, because they're going to think that you're not very keen to learn and things, and that's not good. You want to give yourself a really good first impression. Try to be as friendly as possible. I know like you might seem really nervous, and that will come across, which it will with everybody on their first placements. But just try to be as friendly and do not be like over familiar with people. Just try and fit in to the crowd like nicely, but just don't try and be too big for your boots on your first day, because they probably won't like that very much. But yeah, so I hope this helps, and then honestly I can guarantee that as soon as you look back after either your first year at uni or even at the end of your first placement, you'll look back and think, what, I can't believe how much I've learned. I think the first placement is the one where you learn the most, because you just learn the basics, and I think that's so important, from doing like observations to writing on the charts and things, to getting to know a little bit about anatomy and all these kind of illnesses, to learning about the handover sheets, little things like that which you're going to need to know forever. To getting to know all the doctors and things, are all really important, and obviously things like documentation, and if you have any emergencies or things like that, you'll get like a little feel for what that kind of situation's like as well. So I think honestly you will learn the most in your first placement, because it's just learning all the basics, and even things like washing patients and stuff is going to be something that you'll have to do forever. So I just think you should take as much in as you possibly can from your first placement and just enjoy it, because honestly it will fly, like the whole of your training will. Okay guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that I've answered your questions as best I possibly can. If you would like to see more videos relating to nursing, or answer any questions about going to uni or things like that, or things that you would like to know about what to expect and what to buy for things, or books that are good, or advice for essays for nursing and things like that, I would love it if you would leave some questions down below, and I will do more videos like this, because this is the kind of thing that I wanted to get into YouTube for anyway. So yeah, if you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and let me know if there's anything else you'd like to see. Okay, bye!